So anyway, that's the history, and that's why things have gone to crap over the last 15 years. But now, finally, I see a turnaround, a glimmer of hope, because the bigger advertisers are saying, okay, what have we been buying over the years? Right? The quantities of impressions have far outstripped the entire human population in all of human history. Okay, for years now. Okay, there's not that many humans visiting websites to generate that many trillions of ad impressions per month for you to buy. Okay, it's completely not real. So the advertisers are saying, okay, we got to look more closely. And a lot of the advertisers didn't want to rock the boat because they didn't want to be the first to say, oh, we don't believe this anymore, right? So it took the pandemic in 2020, this external shock, this act of God that nobody could control, to rock the boat for everyone. And since that time, I, as an independent researcher, have seen more and more advertisers asking for my help to audit their campaigns and say, what the heck are we actually buying? Now, the other thing that came into play were these fraud verification companies called Double Verify and Integral Ad Signs. Okay. They have actually actively harmed publishers because of their failure to detect the fraud and detect basic bots. Okay, so imagine the following scenario. If you're a legitimate publisher like New York Times and Double Verify says you have 1% bots, 1 to 3 to 5% bots, okay, that's actually because New York Times has that low amount of bots because they don't actually go out and buy traffic. Okay. And then imagine if Double Verify labels 10,000 fake sites as having 1% bots. Okay. So if you put the fake sites on the exact same footing as New York Times, because Double Verify marked both of them as 1% bots, then obviously if you're the advertiser, you'll say, well, if both of them are the same quality, meaning they're both 1% bots, why would I pay $35 or $70 CPMs to a legit publisher when I can buy the same stuff over here for $3 or maybe 30 cents CPMs? Okay. So because of Double Verify's failure to catch the bots and to show that these fake sites had 100% fake traffic, they essentially covered up the fraud and tricked the advertisers into thinking that it was of the same quality as what the legitimate publishers were selling. Okay. So the turnaround that I'm seeing right now is because I've been writing about this for 15 years. And finally, the advertisers are saying, okay, maybe we should target humans instead of just minimizing the bots. Now, Double Verify and Integral Ad Signs have put out press releases saying that bots have been 1% for the last 10 years. And now advertisers saying, okay, well, that doesn't make any sense. Like even we know it's more than 1%, right? Common sense will tell you, okay, it's more than 1%. So now they're kind of doubting the numbers that Double Verify and IS have been telling them. And so the 1% is not all the bots there are. The 1% is all the bots that Double Verify could catch. That's very different. Okay. And so now when we in Fou Analytics in my platform, we measure both for bots, which are red, and humans, which are blue. When we measure for big publishers, they're going to have 90 to 95% dark blue on their sites because that means they have large human audiences. So now the advertisers are finally realizing, oh, well, why don't we actually buy ads from publishers that have blue? Okay, Double Verify and IS don't measure for humans, so they don't report on the blue. So when they tell you 1% bots or 1% IVT, they just let their customers assume the other 99% humans. Okay, but the other 99% could be, okay, well, it's bots, but they just didn't catch it. You see the difference? Okay, so now I think that turnaround I'm starting to see, and I've been telling more and more of my clients, which are typically the advertisers, you need to buy direct from publishers, have them show you the Fou Analytics data so they can see, okay, the percentage of blue that's on their sites, and then also measure your ads that actually went to these publisher sites so you can actually see that your ads were shown to humans, not to bots, right? So in doing so, we've been able to help the publishers get higher CPMs because the advertisers now realize the $3 CPMs that they were paying on average, 90 to 99% of that was bots anyway. So they didn't get their ads in front of humans. So they didn't get any outcomes, right? Actual sales. So now when you actually show your ads to humans, you're actually going to drive outcomes in sales and things like that. So I'll cite a very specific example. Georgia Pacific, they sell paper towels, toilet paper, right? Paper plates, all these kind of things. They don't sell it on their website. They don't do e-commerce, right? This is all just commodity stuff that you buy in a grocery store, or maybe you buy on Amazon. Once they started using Foo Analytics 2 years ago, they've actually optimized for blue, not just away from red. And they've actually could tell me from their Amazon product pages for quilted northern toilet paper, Brawny, and things like that. They could actually see lift in sales. Okay, so that's a giant consumer products company that actually says, okay, why don't we actually pay more, buy direct from good publishers, make sure our dollars go to showing the ads and not into the pockets of the middlemen.